The indigenous in the world are the highest oppressed and suppressed people during the various phases of human civilization on this earth. This continues to till that. The tribal are also the most innocent and gullible flock of people who are easily manipulated by others for their social, religious, and economic expansion. The tribal way of life and belief system is in consonance with nature. They live with nature. They have their own culture, religion, and way of life, which is heavily eroding with the passage of time and under influence of other religious and spiritual philosophies. Now, we have to understand the tribal philosophy. The tribal sees spirit, soul in all living, non-living things in the nature. Tribal coexist and associate with the nature as a family. For example, the Tani tribe in Arunachal Pradesh accepts the sun as mother, the moon as father, the earth also as mother, likewise the stone as our elder brother. The animals and birds are also our relatives. These are our past, present, and future ancestors. There cannot be a statue or concrete house of worship as we are relatives of nature. The characteristics of nature is democratic. Freedom is the scripture, diversity is its color, and we are a part of it. We cannot go against nature. Going against nature will be like going against the very existence. This is the truth, and this is the core philosophy of tribal way of life. To make things clearer, we can see the examples. In Tani philosophy, Jimmy Jama means nothingness, is the center of the creation. Nothingness is everything. We cannot choose a single entity and worship it. Example, if we choose to worship only river, then we are denying the other entities in the nature. If we worship mountain, paddy, etc., then we are denying the others. In Tani philosophy, the nature is one. We can see or feel and touch everything, but we cannot hold on to any single entity and begin to worship it by saying that this is the God. There have been numerous studies, researches on tribal, but the tribal philosophy was never correctly understood by the world. Rather, the words like Adivasi or Jangli is used to abuse the tribal. The people of other religion and culture has entered from the back door and convinced many tribal to have inferior feeling on own philosophy and existence, saying that your language, your dialect is poor, you don't have religion, you don't have God, you are backward, you are uncivilized. So, we are here to civilize you, to help you. And they gave their God to tribal people. They gave their religion and culture. Slowly, we started cultural suicide unknowingly. We started forgetting our own ancestors. We lost ourselves. They have taught us to see the nature in their way. We started losing the tribal religion of conversation and coexistence with the nature. Now, we are standing on the crossroad with a confused mind. There can be a religion without any written scriptures like Bible, Gita, Quran, etc. You can be religious without following any organized religion. The nature cannot be organized by human beings. Rather, it organizes us. The knowledge of tuning with nature is our religion. We have many rituals to converse with nature. Nature is our scripture, our law. We are directly disciplined by it. We have many means and ways to listen, read, and understand the nature's known, unknown silent language. The nature is mysterious in character. So, many rituals have been created to connect with the various forms of nature. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar says, those who does not know their own history can never create history. So, the people who are devoid of their root, own language, festivals, ancestral memories, such people can never save their own culture. The tribal philosophy is hidden in culture. The mere wearing of traditional dresses, ornaments, singing, dancing will not save our culture. We have to understand the core philosophy of tribalism, which is even beyond rituals. Because rituals are the outer circle or layer of the core philosophy. It is born out of it. If we don't know our history or philosophy, then someone else will write about us on their own way and for their benefits. Slowly, our civilization is destroyed in this way. The chain of mental imprisonment is created when we realize it is too late. Our roots are already forgotten. We start to fight back, trying to break the chain of this imprisonment. And then another history begins. But the new generation suffers and struggles to rewrite the history. So, we cannot commit the crime of dispelling the cultural and ancestral memories of our tribe. For example, we all know how we had to struggle for deletion of words like abor and dafla from the constitution of India. These names were given to us by some outsiders, although we are Adi and Nishi since time immemorial. Now we are fighting for the word tribal. This is why we need to know and be aware of our own history, cultural heritage, and traditions which has to be protected and written by ourselves. The conversion to any religion means conversion to another culture. As slowly we have to leave our culture in the influence of that adopted religion. The Adivasi, the tribal, is not a religion, it's a civilization. And it's a culture which is totally based on the nature. One cannot say that people who does not follow any organized religion does not know anything about spirituality. In Tamil language, the seen and unseen force, spirit or soul of the nature is called as Uyu. This Uyu is the source of life. Like the paddy gives life, water gives life, sun rays gives life, the mountains, trees all give life. Whatever we see and eat are Uyus. We accept the Nubu priest as the link or bridge between the nature and human beings as they understand the silent language of the nature. We cannot worship any single thing in nature and cannot make any statue. How we can make a statue of rivers, paddies, mountain, cloud, etc.? The statues are made out of mud, but how we can make a statue of the mud itself? How can we bind the boundless by creating statues? These are the various forms of Uyu or Jimizama. In Nishi tribe, we call this oneness out of nothingness as Nyokum. This is our festival given by our ancestors. We celebrate the diversity, freedom, democracy in our own way. We are existing in a big temple. This is why we don't create temples or statues. This is our own way of understanding the spirituality taught by our ancestors. Likewise, Hindu, Christian, Buddhism, Jainism, etc. also are not only religion, it's a civilization. They have their own cultural and traditional systems. Like the Hinduism is vast civilization and way of life. They have their own great philosophy and a social segregation of human population into caste system: Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Any individual accepting Hindu religion has to come under one of the castes as mentioned herein. If we become Hindu, our way of connecting with nature will change. Many goddesses will take away our ancestral belief system. We will start other way of worshipping. Then our own tribal philosophy and tribal way of life will be forgotten. Our way of protecting nature is forgotten. Our way of conversation or connecting with nature is forgotten. When we convert into Christian, we even change our name, which means we are living our own language also. The church never talks about our ancestors, our culture, traditions, and social systems. They talk about other people's ancestors, and we try hard to learn their way of living. We start denying our own festivals and many more. Spirituality has nothing to do with all these changes. Now, why we need tribal or Adivasi word in census of the India under religion column? As explained above, tribal word itself is not only a symbol of religion, but it also identifies culture, traditional and social system which is distinct and different from any other religion and culture. Tribalism is a civilization and way of life. In India, every state has some tribal population. More than 750 different and distinct tribes are there. As per 2011 census, the tribals are 8.6% of the total population, or say 104 million people, tribal people. Tribal, being a distinct group, we have no tribal religion column in the form of census of India since 1951, whereas the tribal word was mentioned in the census form from 1851 to 1941. As per available records, the tribal were recorded in the census as 1871 Aborigines, 1881 Aboriginal, 1991 Aboriginal, 1901 Animist, 1911 Animist, 1921 Animist, 1931 Tribal Religion. This was given by Mr. J.H. Hutton, a British officer. Again, 1941, it is written tribes. 1951, others. The mention of tribal word was removed after independence, and we were just known as scheduled tribe for official purpose. The tribals are the Aboriginal who were dwelling in their respective places since time immemorial, even before the coming of the Indus Valley civilization. The Aryan, Mughals, Britishers invaded our habitations, and they settled here and propagated and indirectly imposed their religion and culture to the innocent tribal people in various parts of the country. As we can see, how the word tribal was removed from census form from year 1951 under the then Congress government in independent India. Now the word tribal itself is in danger and in verge of erase from history of civilization. The tribal word is not just a word, but it is our philosophy, culture, religion, tradition, language, literature, and symbol of democratic ancestral system. The provision under ST is reviewed and extended every 10 years, and this can be abolished or scrapped anytime, like the Article 317 Jammu and Kashmir. The ST status does not comply our tribal philosophy, culture, tradition, and tribal way of life. We are just tribal, whether scheduled or non-scheduled. The ST status symbolizes the backwardness of certain group of people in the modern governance system. Like the SCs, OBCs are Hindus, but underprivileged and untouchable at a point of time. Whereas we tribal are democratic and independent group of people living in its own way since time immemorial. And we do not have any caste system among the tribes. Whenever we accept Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism, Jainism, Islam, etc., we are no more tribal. The Adivasi, the tribal, are the aboriginal of this country. So, we have the same right to protect our identity, culture, language, and oral values with the word Adivasi or tribal, like any other communities or religious groups in this country. The word religion is not only a matter of spirituality, but the whole system like culture, tradition, language is engulfed in it. Therefore, we demand that the word tribal or Adivasi or indigenous should be mentioned in the religion column of the form in census 2021. Just like there is mention of Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Jain, Farsi, etc. We request the state government to implore upon the census of India to accept our demand. Jai Adivasi, Jai Bharat.